So, good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know if anybody's going to be around, but I am an hour late. It's Corpus Christi 2017, and I don't even know if anybody's going to be around to chat with me, but in case you are, I'm here. And yeah, so what's up? Corpus Christi, body of Christ. To those who are Christians and religious and Catholics, happy Corpus Christi, I guess. I just had the most interesting dinner with my family, my parents mostly, and I shared a picture of them on their wedding day, mother and father. She was gorgeous. He was a real good looking stud. They had their times, and I was listening to their stories and stuff, things that I didn't know, and it was interesting, and hearing my mother telling me about the first time she met my father. They went polytechnic school together. She knew him since she was 15, and they got married at 19. So I asked her, I said, so you met him at 15 and married him at 19? She said, yes. I looked to my father and he said, what are you going to do? Like, start now, steadily. But they were giving me their stories, She was dating somebody else when they met, and not dating. She said in those days it was a different thing, but she had a boyfriend. I have some very good friends, the Corbys, and we're very good friends because their father and my mother used to date before they had their respective lives. So good evening to all of the Corby family and all of the Pumpkin Vine families of all the families. And I know I'm just rambling at it. This is no thing, but listening to them talk about their days and their times, and all I'm thinking about is how much I just want a better world so that everybody could just have a good life. I do what I do trying to make a better world. I really don't want any job. I don't want to be in the parliament. I don't want to be prime minister. I really, when I tell you, not interested. That's why I talk so plain, I talk as plain as I could. You don't hear any other politician talk like me. And I talk like this so that you understand that I'm not auditioning for a job. All these other politicians, they just lie. All they do is lie. They tell you what you want to hear. And I think that what I really want to tell you is everybody should have a right to a good life. And a lot of what went on in this country by the people who've had the fortune, the good fortune, because Trinidad treats people in public office and high office, it treats them good. Trinidad gives them a real good life. That's why the Chief Justice don't want to step down, The Chief Justice don't want to step down because he's a tiny king. And he feels like a tiny king. People bow and curtsy, and they have all these rules and regulations to deal with him. And when he finally has to leave, he's just Archie, Ivor. You park your car there, Ivor, go and move that car from there, Archie. And he don't want that. He want to be Lord High Master Chief Justice. That's why we don't have recall legislation in this country. Because when parliamentarians end up in parliament, they feel taller, faster, better than themselves, and it's so much that they get, We have offices in this country that make no sense to nobody, and it's just pomp and circumstance, and it's at the expense of everybody else. And my mother and my father asking me tonight, is this what I really want to be doing in my life? I tell them, no, not at all. I have no interest in this as what I want to be doing in my life. I do not want the pomp and circumstance. I do not want people opening doors for me. I don't want to be Lord High Excellency and any of the other bullshits that come with it. I don't want that. I don't. All I want is to get 1.5, how much of a million of us it is in this country. I want to get all of the people so informed as to their rights. You know, I try to help as many people as possible understand their rights, how to call the police, what to say to the police, how to deal with a lawyer. I try to do that as much as possible, because my goal, my hope is to get us to stop being, we live in the bullshit. We are at the level of non-royalty. We live in the bullshit. We give each other bullshit. We take bullshit, and it's all about bullshit, and it needs to stop, because it just needs to stop. We are a nation. You ask Catholic people, Christian people, why Corpus Christi is a holiday, and they can't tell you. But somebody somewhere decided to appease somebody and gave them one. And if you give that one, then you had to get the Hindus. And if you get the Hindus, well, of course the Muslims had to get. And what about the Baptists? And I'm not saying anything is wrong with religion. I'm saying everything is wrong with bullshit. And we need to not be about bullshit. What we need to be about is who black, who white, who brown, who hair straight, who hair kinky, who is rasta, who is bald head, who's wear sari, who's wear dashiki. My family come from so many different parts of the world that for me to be racist is for me to have a split personality. And that's my reality. I want to be honest as I could be. I want to be honest. A large part of me wants to leave Trinidad. A large part of me wants to leave, not running from Trinidad. A large part of me want to go and see the world. And a large part of me, I told Trinidad I'm 50. You know, and I don't want to waste my life playing dick measuring with Colm Embert and Rudal Monilal. I have zero interest in that. And to put me in that, I will fling that paper in our parliament and walk out and tell him, you see me, partner, I'm not on bullshit. So if all you're still on bullshit, miss me with that. But they're on bullshit. Because to be honest, Monilal making an issue about Faris Charan and the guns is bullshit. But Faris is a bullshit artist. To take his two little children to pose in Komodo with guns on their Facebook page. You see, Faris is an ego sucker bag. If you ever hold a sucker bag, you know it looks like it have form, but if you squeeze it too hard, it pop. That's Faris Al-Rawi. He's an ego sucker bag. By how he dress, walk, talk. I mean, he had to be in his 50s too. And he has tried to dress like some little young boy going party for the first time. And all of that bullshit. I mean, all of these people, to work your whole life, to reach this stage in your life, and to be about bullshit, it's sad. And I don't want to be sad. I really don't want to be sad. I look at Inshan Ishmael. I just feel sorry for him. His whole life is bullshit. I just feel sorry for him. Sorry. But Fitzgerald Hines spent his entire life scaling a mountain of bullshit. Trying to distance himself from himself. Sad. Kamala cannot tell people. I remember when Pandey was Prime Minister, and they had a guy, his job was to take the drink out of Pandey's hand when the cameras are around. Because Pandey was a drunk. And Kamala is a drunk. If you ever dealt with Kamala up close, you know she's a drunk. But you can't blame her, because in this country, Indian culture is alcohol, because what's his name? Tate and Lyle, that were the precursors to Caroni Limited, treated Indian people like slaves. And they paid Indian people with raw bush rum, raw sugar rum. They paid them with raw sugar rum, split peas and flour and oil. That's how they get paid. That's why we have so many things like Sahina and Polori and all that crap, because these people have to learn how to make a life out of oil, split peas, flour, and rum. And no, it wasn't Ganga Singh. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. He had a name similar to another person in Parliament. But yeah, people, if you in a little country like Trinidad, you know, a plane flies over Trinidad in 5 minutes, right? If you're in a little country like Trinidad, when they look at the world map, you can't even say somewhere in this region, because there's nowhere to say. We're so tiny. And if you are the prime minister of a country this tiny, and you need 15 police outriders, man hanging out the jeep, when they pass here, the prime minister come in, man hanging out the jeep, AR-15 in the hand, blah, 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 motorcycle, all this bullshit. It's like little twats saw the queen and say one day, I want to grow up and be the queen. Little twats. You ever watch Keith Rowley? You ever watch him? Nobody in this country is proud of Keith Rowley as the prime minister. Nobody's proud to know him. Everybody that Keith Rowley has as a friend, they're there for the benefits. All. Nobody likes him. I remember when one of the PNM financiers, Syrian boy, who all the other Syrians who put money in the PNM, give this Syrian boy the money to handle. His work is the Syrian bagman for the PNM. So I remember him telling me on the phone, but I record all my calls and I have it. And I'm going to play it one night for you all. Him telling me on the phone how he get in trouble. He had called me for advice, how he get in trouble, because there was the time when the pictures had come out with Rowley whining on Ravina. Remember that? And the Syrian community threatened to pull all their money if he couldn't put his boy on a leash. Put a muzzle on your boy. That's the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And now when they come in, like, out the way, like he's a man of honor or somebody to respect. Does anybody tell your children that's the Prime Minister? Grow up to be a sucker bag like him one day. No. Our politicians leave politics in disrepute and dishonor. So how are they honorable while they're there? Name one. You could name one, post it somewhere. You name a politician that left politics in Trinidad that you really respect. And yes, the Indians like the Indians and the blacks like the blacks. All right, that's done to death. But seriously, whoever came into power and left having done something of value that they didn't themselves cancel out by their rotted behavior? Because everything you hear about them is true, you know. I know all of them. I remember sitting down in Ernie Ross' place, Ross Advertising, with Vasant Bharat, Ernie Ross, myself, somebody else, and Anil Roberts, trying to put Anil on message when room 201 had bust. And Anil was high like a kite, his eyes open like two big saucers, and talking to Anil. And I'm thinking, how is this my life? Why am I involved in this bullshit? I look around the room, I see Vasant, that's our next sucker bag. Vasant is our next ego sucker bag like Faris. Same animal, the same walk, the same talk, the same dress, the same bullshit. Hang two bubbles and string a garland around them and there's a Christmas tree. Two of them equally vapid, worthless, bring nothing of value to the conversation. Both of them have some degrees and some book sense and no fuck all of any value to anybody. You cannot, you know, when we rewrite history, we make Pandey out to be a better man than he was. But Pandey was the man who sent Pamela Gokul up the ladder and thrust Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj into popularity. because Ramesh had to come and save Baz from a sexual harassment lawsuit. Or a charge, if it was a charge, I can't remember. But you remember those things? You see, I'm in this politics shit long time, you know. Around it long time, and I'm watching it long time. I follow Russian politics, South Africa politics, Canada, Ukraine politics. I like politics. Trinidad politics is suckerbag shit. Trinidad politics is all these little twats playing grown up. Look at the Senate. Look at the Senate. This is the Senate in Greece. The Senate would he learned, and it's not he learned, so for all the media journalists watching, the Senate would he learned, the people of knowledge, and their jobs were to advise the jackass cat that we have in the Senate. Who they could advise? Anybody that has any inkling as to what goes on in politics in Trinidad and Tobago is either ashamed or they're shameless. One of those two positions. The rest don't care. There are people following the Progressive Empowerment Party now that I feel a burden that they're following PP, because I know they don't follow politics at all. So now they're following PP, so now I have this extra responsibility, not just to save Trinidad, but to save politics. I have to save politics. I have to do a better job than everybody else. The pressure of being the third party to come in the conversation. We have to be better than all of those that have power, all of those that have war chests of money, all of those that have finances. I have to know more, be better, speak better. I have to be able to debate on every manner of issue. I have to surround myself and double check who I surrounded myself with to make sure the people that I surrounded myself are people of character and integrity, so that they don't say, well, he was with him and him was with him and blah, 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 and pull them all down. I'll be careful every step I make. Because everybody in Trinidad is a postage stamp. And everybody know everybody, and everybody related to everybody, or friends with everybody, and 3 degrees of separation. So anything I do and say, my mother and father knows, my family knows. You know, I have sisters, I have a brother, I have cousins, friends. This week here, on one day, 2 of my deans at St. Mary's College spoke to me, one on the phone and one on the threads. And I took it to be almost respect. When I was growing up, I was a writer and words. And 2 of the people whose columns that I followed religiously, Raoul Pantin and Rafiq Shah. And I liked Rafiq Shah because Rafiq Shah was a mutineer. And I liked what that meant, even though I wasn't sure how much of a mutineer he was. He was a mutineer, and he had a nice style because he was an in-your-face kind of writer. Raoul Pantin was prim and proper, and he brought it down the center of the rails. I was one of the last people to see Raoul Pantin alive. He did a show with me on Sunday mornings on 91.1. He said to me once, "You are the future of journalism, if not politics in this country." I said, "Raoul, take that back. Take that back. I don't want that responsibility." I would be the person that he would call in the morning. "You see this bullshit in the papers? Look at this bullshit." And I have to take that whole rant. I remember once I had wrote a political parody of a play. And Rafiq Shah wrote on the bottom and in the comments, it was early times in Facebook, and Rafiq Shah wrote in the comments, "Kaiso boy." And to me, as a writer and a fan of these people, that's like if Messi pass a ball to me and I trap it and score. To the footballers, to the people who like football. Yeah, that to me it was like that. And somehow, along the way, I end up here in this position. Today, I read a post on a wall by my good friend Journalists are starting to write real stories all of a sudden. It seems like the bravery and the courage of Philip Alexander and others are making them come out. And the conversation started in the thread about the PEP and stuff like that. And this woman, she said, who is the leader of the PEP? And they would say, well, right now, for want of a better word, we don't have a political leader, but if we needed to say we have an interim leader, it's Philip Alexander. And she's saying that she wouldn't vote for me. And in the conversation, and I'm reading the thread, I'm not saying anything, but I'm reading it, and she's saying, like other people, he's spot on, he's bright, and he's brilliant, and he have all the answers, but I won't vote for him. And I'm thinking to myself, it is that kind of jackassery that has us where we are. I'm not looking for the job, but you're saying I'm the best man for the job, but you wouldn't vote for me because of personalities. So for personalities, we end up with an asshole for a prime minister who replaced a jackass before him, who replaced a fool, who replaced a drunk. This is what we've had. And now we're trying to change the conversation and elevate it to issues. You make it about personalities. Like it needs to be a beauty contest. So I thought, it's a public holiday, the equivalent of a weekend, and that I wouldn't do a live video tonight. But people have been calling and messaging, and I have a responsibility for as long as it lasts, because at some point, and it's going to be soon, because, family members, we're talking every day, the time, I don't even have the time anymore for all the work that it takes to do this. And soon it might come down to 1 or 2 videos a week. We're trying to get out on the road and do public meetings so you can come and meet the whole team and set up an executive for each constituency and all that drama. It's happening Saturday, 17 Carolina Savannah Road on the 17th. And I will be there and I speak in San Fernando when we go down by Joel. But in response to that woman's post today, I felt moved to write something. So I want to share that with you now, because it went, well, when last I left it, yeah, it's pretty much still going on. It provoked lengthy conversation. And every time I write like this, it's like, you ever felt a stone at a Jep nest? Every time I write like this, it's like all the Jack Spaniard fly off the nest and they buzz in. Because everybody wants to challenge, contribute, make a statement. They get energized, either to or fro. But they come and they speak and they talk issues. And nowhere in the politics, no Stuart Young, no Shamfa Kojo, no Khadija Hamid, none of these people talking politics, talking issues anywhere in the politics. Nowhere. This is what I wrote. In response to that woman, she will never know that this, what I say in response, this was what was provoked out of me. And she will never know, because I will never tell her and I will never share this with her. I'm telling you. This is what I wrote today. Trust me when I tell you, you do not want me for a prime minister. I would shut down the entire public service, privatize everything non-essential, bring CPEP, URP and the HDC to a close, and prosecute every public office holder, corrupt businessman, and their criminal co-conspirators among the legal and accounting fraternities for crimes committed. All public posts and positions will be subject to private sector standards where service and accountability are concerned. The THA in Tobago would be gone. Tobago needs to make up its mind to either become a full-fledged part of the unitary state, or they can have their independence. And they get to decide. But I'm adding stuff that's not anything, but we've been having this bullshit conversation about Tobago for too long. And you need a prime minister to come and squash that bullshit about the THA and say, listen, you're either part of Trinidad and Tobago or take your independence. Decide. Take a vote. If the majority of you all say independence, we separate. But if you stay, then we'll go to China or to India or to France or to Belgium or to Brazil or any country that's sitting on massive resources, human and material, that looking to do business on an international level, and say, come and let us build the 7 islands that we need to build between Trinidad and Tobago. Those 7 islands will create marvelous real estate for casino gambling, resorts, all kind of nonsense, marinas for the yachting people. Fantastic idea. Build 7 islands and build a bridge from Trinidad all the way to Tobago. Operate it at a toll. For the first 20 years, if it's $100 to use the road, it's still a lot less money than a plane or a boat ride. You get to take your car, your truck with you, everything will reach on time, the prices will be less, it'll generate millions of dollars a day, and they can keep 90% and we get 10% until they recover the cost to build, and then it flip. They get 10% perpetually, we get 90% after maintenance costs. That's a win-win, and I've been saying that for a long time. They get to decide. The regional health authorities and all special purpose companies would be shut down. I told Trinidad last night, the regional health authorities were set up to steal money. There are companies in this world, there are few business industries in this world more ruthless, more criminal and corrupt than the pharmaceutical industry. The pharmaceutical industry would make Pablo Escobar blush. These fellas, they have it cork. And our regional health authorities is like, China didn't want English people to come into China because at that time, the Chinese had very high culture and they thought the English had lice. So they gave the English Hong Kong. Come as far as Hong Kong and we will meet you there and deal with you. But don't come into China. But the same thing happened in the regional health authorities. The regional health authorities is like the bagman for corruption in the health sector. All of the corruption and the theft and the criminality that takes place in our health sector happens because we have these regional health authorities. And if we squash them completely, it'll go away. We will start to rationalize what a budget for health sector should be, and that money will actually get to where it's supposed to go. Special purpose companies are like junior versions of the regional health authority. Sport TT is theft enterprise. Sport TT is where the budget money goes to dispense among fake contracts. Let all of them check. Let's audit everything. Every one of these. UDCOT was notorious. UDCOT has cost this country billions of dollars in money stolen from the HDC that we will never ever be able to account for. Billions of dollars. I want you to understand, it is UDCOT that had budgets for Taruba, Napa, Sapa, Tapa, Scarborough Hospital, La Fantasy. Calder Hart was Tito Capo of UDCOT. Jerlene John, Madam Jerlene John. There have few people in this country. You know what she is? She's a cat on a hot tin roof. You see a cat on a hot tin roof? It don't stop dancing. Always land on his feet. That's Jerlene John. Jerlene could tell you. Ask Jerlene. They're playing a game with her. Matters in courts and stuff. But Jerlene is one of those people who know where all the body's buried. Figuratively. So they have to be very careful how they poke that. But if you shut down all those special purpose companies and all those regional health authorities, our $60 billion budget drops to about $35 billion. Believe it or not. The regional corporations, this is the next clusterfuck of malfunctional governance. Regional corporations are just places for race and tribal politics to get down in the gutter. Ironically, they are also responsible for gutters, but they don't take care of them. The regional corporations and the entire local government nonsense will be replaced by fully funded constituencies responsible for their own education, healthcare, public works, development, maintenance, public utilities, and security. People ask me, how are you paying for that? When I went small school and I had on short pants, one of the subjects we did was called arithmetic. Every year you hear 5 billion for health divided by 41. 5 billion for education divided by 41. 9 billion for housing divided by 41. Arithmetic, short pants politics, you know. But you all have to get me vexed to make me come and talk bullshit like this. That's how you pay for it. Healthcare will be privatized. The people will be insured, and healthcare will operate at first world standards in exchange for the licenses to operate. All citizens earning less than $100,000 a year will have their premiums paid. All others will contribute an annual premium. This plan alone would save $2.5 billion a year from existing budgets. Let me tell you how. We spend $5 billion a year average. This year we're spending 6.25. So I don't know if that 6.25 is the new carry forward in the land of theft that is our health sector. But we spent $50 billion in the last 10 years. Now I asked a very senior gentleman in one of the largest insurance companies in the Caribbean. I said to him, if I were to approach you for health medical insurance for myself that covers everything, what would it be? Say between $3,000 and $4,000. As if I was to come to insure 1 million people, how much it will be? Say it'll drop. Say how much? I say by half. He said it'll drop. If you estimate 2,500 per person, that's $2.5 billion. So if we have to insure, if we have to pay the premium for 1 million people, $2.5 billion. The rest supposed to be earning salaries above $100,000 because Joan, the HTC ad this morning, not HTC, Trinidad Tobago Mortgage Finance did an ad aimed at Joan and his sister, and he was talking to Joan's sister about Joan. That Joan didn't know that once you're earning more than $14,000 a month, you qualify for a Trinidad Tobago Mortgage Finance loan up to $1.5 million. And I was asking Trinidad today, who is this ad aimed at? Clearly, for the TTMF to make an ad, they believe that a large cross-section of the population earns in excess of $14,000 like Joan. So I dumb it down to 300,000 people that paying their own premium. So we spend $2.5 billion, privatize all of the hospitals, the major hospitals, privatize them, and the insurance pays it. But you don't insure all your insurance in one company. You pass a law that 5 companies minimum must exist to offer insurance to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. They cannot have shares in each other by law. No shares. They must have no interlocking directorships. You could put these things in law. And you could make it so that you have independent insurance, competing insurance companies. So the guy who making the most money, getting it for the best service. Yeah? Not for the best gouging. And because the hospitals are now privatized, give Sinclair one, give West Shore one, give it to them to run. We're saving $6.25 billion a year. Now we're setting up 41 regional in the constituency health centers, as I told you. Those things gonna cost about $2 million to run. Small money, pocket change. We give that to the constituency to run. Look your $24 million, run your health center 24 hours a day, and listen. In Diego Martin West, Diego Martin Central, and Diego Martin Northeast, they exist cheek by jowl. So you could go in any one of those health centers as a Trinidadian. You don't have to live in the constituency. Actually, show up there. But what I'm saying is, you will find out which health centers have the best doctors, offer the best service, and success leaves clues. So the health supervisor and the health minister will be able to tell who's doing a good job as opposed to who's doing shit. So you could fire Mr. Shit and reward and promote Mr. Good Job. Yes? This is how you run a business. Why is it not how we run the country? That's how we would pay for that. We would end up saving with my plan, estimated $2.5 billion a year. Write it down, because I just saved us $2.5 billion there. We first-time homeowners will qualify for a government guaranteed loan up to $1.5 million. Not like Joan and his sister, 0 deposit, 0 interest for 30 years. If you default on payments, we take your house. Somebody say, nah, you have a plan because what if the man lose his job? Listen, you're getting 0 deposit, 0 interest. Put money aside for a rainy day. I ain't carrying you. I'm giving you a start. I'm giving you a start in life. Make sure you put aside 12 months of payments. So that if you lost your work, you learn to make mango chow quick and go and sell on Independence Square. Or you start a pull bull. You do something. If you're a woman, you're hemming clothes. Whatever it takes to maintain that payment, because you don't want to lose that blessing of a house. People ask, where you get any money to pay for that? Well, The money that was handed to Clico, not the interest, just the money that was handed to Clico that they pick up out of the country. Here, do pray. Hola. 25 billion. Hola. You want all more? And that money would have built 200,000 house. That's what I built. Not counting the 20 billion interest, that money could have earned us, should have earned us, would have earned us if you had a jackass like me for prime minister. Because I don't care who he is. Red crapper, yellow crapper, green crapper. Listen, they can bad talk me till they cry blood. I don't care, you know. They don't pay my bills. They don't put pepper in my food. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When I talk in what I know. The money that was handed to Dupre and Monta and the boys could have built 200,000 house. You could have deal with that one time. But let's say we don't have that money. What will pay for this money, for these houses, for these government guaranteed loans? The fact that the equity will exist in the house first of all. Because on an accounting spreadsheet, you bought a $1.5 million, you have two entries, the loan and the equity. Both of them exist. They cancel each other out. But more importantly, because I am doing that now, I've saved the $9 billion that we spend for HDC. So now, add that $9 billion to the $2.5 I just saved. We're at $11.5 billion saving. But it gets better. Because a couple years into it, when everybody start to own their own home and the community start to settle down and people start to live nice with each other, the crime will come down. Because the science tells you the first line in crime prevention is the home and the family and the community. So if we build back the home and the family, we will automatically rebuild the community. And as crime will be coming down, we will lower the $9 billion that we're spending on national security. So let's take half of that and add it to the 11.5. We're at $16.5 billion saved now. And we just had housing. And everybody owned their own house. And let me tell you what else is the advantage. This is what else is the advantage. When you have 12 streets, 12 houses in a street, and 8 owned by the people who live in there, and somebody come to rent a house to sell drugs, or to run mechanic yard, or wherever, in a normal circumstance, everybody else will make a decision, you know what, I'm going to move out. Because I want to cross-tread nobody. Because, you know, them come to sell their drugs, let me go my way. But you own the house. So now you have to defend your house. Plus, your 7 neighbors that all you're sharing mango and sugar and salt for the past 5 years. You know each other now. And you'll get together and say, listen now, we ain't really want nobody selling drugs on the street. Or they go together and they talk to the mechanic man. Or they talk to his landlord. And they tell him, we don't want this in our street. You're going to defend your street. We're going to have upliftment in the communities. Again, we will pull down crime. We will remove all taxes on all building and construction materials to further drive the price of housing down. But that is not all. Let me say it publicly. I, Philip Edward Alexander, support property tax. I support property tax. This is the property tax I support. On your primary residence, tax-free, 0. On the second house, you own 10%. On the third house, you own 15%. On the fourth house, you own 20%. And I escalated as you escalated. Till it reached to the point where it's not worth your while to use real estate as an investment or to hide money anymore because I'm taking it back from you in tax. Why? Why would I do that? Because I want to discourage money being hoarded in real estate, which is artificially manipulating the reality of supply and demand, driving the prices of houses up beyond where they would normally be. So we need to deal with that. All the cocaine money and the corruption money had to hide somewhere. It's only so much Tulum and Benebol you could buy. So I had to go and buy La Riviera, La Fontaine. I own Phobia side. That's how they talk. That's how they talk. You ever hear them? I sit down and listen to this. And I think when they say no one raindrop ever caused the flood, these are a couple raindrops. We'd be better off if that run down the father leg. Anyway. We will remove all taxes on building and construction materials to further drive the price of housing down. More. I will find a way to encourage developers I will find a way to reward developers who bring in starter homes under $1 million. We will find a way to give them a benefit for that. Give them some kind of support for that. Because the more those houses you get on the market, the better it is. Yeah? All bars, all of you who are my friends tonight, who own a bar, you ain't voting for me. If you own a discotheque or a nightclub in a residential community, you're my partner, you're my friend, give me a bounce, but you're not voting for me after. I'm going to say all bars in residential communities will have to shut their doors at midnight, 7 days a week. What about Friday and Saturday? 7 days a week. Because your neighbor that living next door to you, they're taking the bullshit noise every night. You're making their lives miserable. You're punishing them. And it is unfair. It is unfair. And all bars in residential communities will shut their doors at midnight. Worse, you will be responsible for all the trash in a radius around your place and all the piss on all the walls. And the neighbors don't have to come to you. The neighbors will come to the organization that runs the constituency, that board of supervisors, and report you. And if they report you sufficient times, we will go to the courts to have your license cancelled. Now you need to understand this. The licensing committee that makes up the approval for a bar license has to have approval from the regional corporation, which will be replaced by the constituency corporation. So you take away the approval, the license is cancelled, and we shut you down. And it's as simple as that. Food production and tourism would be growth industries with state support for micro business development, all aimed at reducing the cost of living. The goal would be to have TNT become food self-sufficient in 10 years and a tourism hub of the Caribbean. Contractors and persons desirable of doing public works can only operate within the constituency they exist in, so that we can guarantee a better share of the national pie. No more one-man billionaire road pavers. Miss me with that. We have 41 constituencies. Share the wealth. There would also be a $5 million per year cap on what one company can earn from the state, except in special cases where the provision of goods and services are at a national level. And in those cases, all tenders must be open, transparent, and public. The right to recall parliamentarians would be made law, and the public would vote on all major legislation and national development through referendum. No member of parliament would be allowed to be a cabinet minister. Those posts would go to persons demonstrably capable by knowledge and experience in their respective fields. They'll be hired based on a plan that they propose. We will say, we would like to get from A to B. Tell us how you would get us from A to B. And they'll give you a short term, 2 years, medium term, 3 years, long term, 5 years plan as to how to get us from A to B and beyond. And they will tell us, in 6 months, we'll be here. It'll cost us here and we'll be doing this. So when we call you back in for your updates, you will tell us 6 months in, you said we would be here according to your plan. Are we there? Again, that's how you run a business. Why we can't run the country so? The cabinet would be no more than 13 ministers. At another time, I'll tell you the 13 ministers and why. But we don't need half of these posts. Let me just give you this quick. We do not need a tourism minister. Even though tourism is a growth pole for me, you need a tourism director, not a minister. A tourism director in the Ministry of Finance. You need a sports director in the Ministry of whatever we call social development and culture and all of those things, youth, gender, all of this comes under social development. The reason that all of these things fail is that we've created ministries for things that do not need ministries, and where things should have been working seamlessly integrated, they're not, because they're separated with their own permanent secretary and their own budgets and their own rules, all kind of foolishness that prevents social development from actually developing the social capital of the nation. But we'll fix that. 30% of the annual budget would be divided among the citizens equitably, paid in 2 installments. You see that money that we're saving? I'm not saving it to put in the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, I'm saving it to give it to you. 30% of the budget, divided among everybody. You're a Trinidadian on your birthday in an account that you set up. For this, you get your share twice. Half on your birthday, the other half 6 months to the date of your birthday. Why? 2 payments. To encourage good behavior, because if at any time between any of those continuing payments you get arrested or charged for anything, payments stop. So don't get arrested, don't get charged. Twice for a year, you get a honey pot, don't squander it. Marijuana would be decriminalized and grown for export to the international medical marijuana industry, expected to generate tens of billions of dollars in export income and much needed foreign exchange. Marijuana is California's #1 cash crop. California's economy by itself, California has the 13th largest economy in the world by itself, separate and apart from the United States. So I know, and we know, and the science and the numbers prove it. Trinidad has a better climate for growing marijuana than anywhere else. The Caribbean is the best place. So we will grow it here and sell it back to the international medical marijuana fraternity community. The nation's borders would be shut 3 miles out. All marine vessels approaching would have to yield to be searched or not allowed in. The Port of Spain would be relocated to Point Lisas, to a much larger facility that would provide for the unstuffing of all. I keep saying all. People come to negotiate. I say all. All. AWLONE. All shipping containers. Unstuff all. I don't care what you're importing. Unstuff all. Why are we unstuffing them? We're looking for cocaine, because it's a narco state. And when we block them on the sea, they go try and send it in the plywood, and in the Tulum, and in the Pigfoot South bucket, all that nonsense. So we will unstuff all the containers on the port. Whatever you imported, and I don't care if you're big like Courts, or if you're small like you just import your furniture for your house. You will unstuff your containers on the port, and you will move your merchandise on trucks. But we will examine everything until this country is no longer a narco state. Until it is no longer financially feasible for the drug runners to run their drugs through Trinidad and they have to pick somewhere else, we will unstuff the containers. There would be a property tax, we discussed that. The courts would be split. We will pick a day. Whatever is that date, we will work together with the judiciary. The courts will be split into current cases, past cases. Whatever is that date, everything from that day go back is past. Everything from this date go forward is current. We will make sure that there are sufficient courtrooms and judges for the current cases going forward to be expedited. Expeditious justice. We want to make sure that we pass it through the courts in a rapid speed so that we could execute murderers, convicted murderers, within the 5 years of Pratt and Morgan. So now is no lollygagging on death row. You're convicted of murder, as Alo say, buy your flowers. Classrooms would be paperless in 5 years. What does that mean? It should be paperless now. We should have no need for an education facilities theft company limited. We should have no need for that. All of the work that we're using, whoever the copyright owners, pay them. But don't print it, publish it digitally. It would be cheaper to provide the classroom, each classroom, with 40 laptops or 40 tablets. It don't have to go home with the child. We are a nation that we seem to have a problem sharing the wealth. I don't know, for some reason. We think if black children go home with laptop, they go look at porn. But white children and Syrian children, they don't look at porn. And the bullshit that's passed for conversation in this country is piss me off sometimes. But seriously, a paperless classroom. Should the children are living and learning who is not digitally, and you listen to the jackassness the Minister of Education talk about the internet and social media dumbing down the children, is actually taking the children fast forward beyond where he could even visit in his dreams. Stick a pin. Paperless in 5 years, all the curriculum, all the books and everything digitally in the cloud. Children access it through their laptops, through their tablets. Teacherless in 10. All the teachers ask me, well, I could be out of a job. We don't like that. Whether you like it or not. In 10 years from now, how we go to the doctor, how we go to court, how we do a lot of transactions will be a lot different to how we do it now. And a teacherless classroom, you know what that guarantees? That guarantees that the same teacher that teaching St. Joseph, Holy Name, Fatima, St. Mary's, Presentation and Naparima, teaching St. James and Tranquility and Morva and Never Dirty, secondary. That same teacher on a big screen. One teacher, the best in their field. And each class would have a classroom supervisor to maintain order while the children get the information from the best teacher in their field from a screen. 10 years from now. And that's where the world going, because 15 years from now we may not have schools and class in the traditional sense, because if we're doing teacher broadcast and we're doing the cloud, then your child break your foot, or your child have measles, or your child have a communicable disease and they can't come to class, you could still sit down home and turn on the TV on AVM channel 4 or go online to the cloud, and your child getting same teacher lesson that they'd be getting if they was in the class. And that's where we need to go. All cities, Port of Spain, San Fernando, should go on us when it is finally made one. Or is it one now? I can't remember. All cities would be car-free, and moving sidewalks and escalators would be installed. They'll be run by solar power, because I want to tell you, it is a lot cheaper than trying to maintain vehicular roads. It's a lot cheaper than trying to put in tram cars and all of this foolishness. Moving sidewalks. Those who want the exercise, don't walk on the moving sidewalks. Solar, wind, and other renewable sources of energy would be encouraged, with property owners being able to sell excess power to the grid. Elon Musk just built the first all renewable energy house. The world has changed. If you could dig a well, you could build a house and be completely disconnected from everybody else. We live in a country where public utilities seems to want to molest and rape the people. I want to reverse that. You must be able to run a total renewable energy house, and if at the end of the month you actually sent more energy back into the grid than you took, you get a check from TNTech, not a bill. Petroleum-powered vehicles would be illegal in 5 years. Now that's a goal, and I believe it's attainable and achievable the way alternative energy vehicles are going. We need to take care of our environment. A lot of people don't know we went unleaded with our gas because there was a time where we had the distinction of Curep Junction being the most polluted place in the world for lead in the atmosphere. The parliamentary broadcast would be put on a half-hour delay. That means they speak it now, but it doesn't broadcast for a half hour, which would allow for the Speaker of the House and others to determine if what was just said is fair to people who are not members of the House. You see, parliamentarians misuse the privilege, the parliamentary privilege, and then the parliamentary channel broadcasts it to the world. That was never intended when the parliamentary privilege was created, that it be broadcast to the world. So I'm saying, keep the privilege, just don't broadcast it to the world. What that would do, that would bring a large part of the bacchanal bullshit, posturing, posing, ego nonsense that goes on in the parliament to an end. No more grandstanding, no more bacchanalists, no more mark busting. Go about the people's business in the parliament. So, we delay the broadcast. The broadcast would not be allowed to call third parties' names without justification and just cause. All monopolies would be cancelled. Once again, the last government stole the idea and didn't do it. This government stole the idea and still hasn't done it. Let me say it again. Internet broadband would be provided free nationwide, and telecommunications and media generation open up to competition. Now, the name of the future is two things: content and broadcast. How you get your internet and what you get on your internet. Content is king. Content is king, because without content, you don't want an internet connection. So content is king, and we have to make sure that we're generating local content, and we come to that at another time. The banking sector would be regulated heavily and open up to competition. And I even wanted to say, we used to have a savings bank, and I want to bring back a savings bank, which is a bank that you could get your check. When they say they want to pay you by check, or they want to deposit it in your account, deposit in my savings account at my savings bank. I'm not going there for a loan. They have no loan facilities. They don't sell no units. They don't engage in anything other than you put $100 in, you come and you take your $100 out. That's it. They're not in the loans business. So what will fund that? The state will fund that. Because if the state funds that, it will encourage saving, which is very important for the state. But more importantly, it will protect the people from the predatory, rapacious banks that operate here now. Because if people could pick up all their money and go and put it in a savings account, that may not earn them interest. But right now, the interest that you're getting from RBC, RBL, Scotia, when you get that interest, it is pittance compared to the charges that decimate in your account balance. So it will be charge-free, interest-free. You put in $100, you take out $100. Simple arithmetic. Yes? And that's what I said today, is what I stand for, and what I fully believe. That is how we need to be thinking. And if you, as a citizen, want a better Trinidad and Tobago, you need, and follow the wall. Go and follow that thread, because every time it's like spitting a seed in fertile ground, a forest grows. Go and watch everybody else. Trinidadians are so bright. They're so bright. I love when these conversations happen, because they come at me with 100 million more. And I say, yes, I love that. Let's do that. Let's try that. Because we need more bridges and less gates. We need more hand-holding and less fists. We need more one people and less separation of the people. We need to get to a place where every creed and race in this country really feels like they are not, like they're part of a country that they can be proud of. And I tell you something, you see these steps? Just these simple steps here would be all it takes to right-size this country and get us to first world status. There are other things I want to tell you. We will turn the jails into universities until we don't need jails anymore. We would deal with social development and management. One of the first things that I would do is lead. I would actually lead a social development intervention into Morva, Beetham, Lavantil, and Silots, because that is where we need to demonstrate our best selves and our best ability to right unforgivable wrongs. And what has been done to the people of Morva, Beetham, Lavantil, and Silots for 55 years is criminal in the extreme. We've made Satan blush. We've done things in this country that are worse than things that have been done that cause wars in the world. But we'll go into that in the future. If you want to be part of a progressive, empowering government, come and build it. Come and build it. There is a very good chance January 17th, 2018, when we call the internal election, I will not put my name up for anything. There's a very good chance. Because I want to show my detractors I'm not in this for a job. And I will support a political leader. I'm not in this for an easement, a contract, a position. I'm not looking for girls. I'm not looking for money. And literally, I'm just trying to help my country get to a better place. So when I go on my walkabout to see the world, I know Trinidad and Tobago safe. But when I come back old, I have somewhere safe to put my head. Yeah? So that's my position, and this is what I wanted to share. And Sorry about the rambling rant, but tonight was never really going to be a live video anyway. So to those of you that took the time to share it with me, thanks a lot. No music tonight, straight talk, yes? So I can't wait to go back and read the comments. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Those of you who are not, well, I mean, this is a long weekend for some people because every time a holiday falls on a day in the middle of the week, it becomes a long weekend. But to everybody else and to everybody, enjoy what you have to get done tomorrow. Stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.